Okay. You see, what for the audio listeners, Pat's getting darker.
I'm getting
Um,
even darker. I'm in
yeah,
black and white now.
yeah. Now,
I'm talking to you from the past.
now that you're dark, though, you might have a hard time finding a hairstyle.
So I guess this is gonna be the week that we talk about Elden Ring.
Yeah, it's that one. It's the one where it
Um,
came out.
and like I was fucking around with the character creator, and I was like, "Wow, this looks a lot nicer."
It's
But I'm
gotten
having
a lot
just
better in terms of just general options for sure. I mean,
yeah, but I
hmm
still had just as much trouble making a character that I liked, so I just made a tired old-looking man
hmm
with red hair,
hmm
which works for me.
hmm
What is your experience with the character creator, Wooly?
Well, so the first episode kind of chronicles some trouble I've had as I was attempting to go through. It's not just about like so I have a habit of often going, hey, can I make Wooly, right? And
Mhm.
I've seen some people, I guess, misinterpret that to think that I'm just like I'm trying to create myself all the time. It's like make someone else have fun with that, and it's like, well, if you see me in a lot of games, I'll make like not me. I'll make OC type things. I'll make like I'll play as a girl and often enough in games, and I totally have fun with that process of just like creating an original character. In many cases, my character off of LP and off stream is just my own random thing. But
Mhm.
there has been a habit over the years of me going, well, if I can make a Wooly, that's a test to see
Why not
whether or
attempt
not
it?
yeah, to see how like whether or not this character creator is quote unquote black people friendly, and it's been a subject matter over the years. So I've laughed quite a bit about some of the ones that have had some options, albeit maybe just an afro and some purple skin here and there.
There you
Um,
go. That's all you need.
and
Right
then
there.
there's other times where it's like, oh my god, this is a predominantly black character creator because we're playing NBA 2K17 or
Mhm.
2K16, and look at all the black features that are here, and you kind of just it's been a funny little gag, and so when I continue to play games like Elden Ring, I continue to run the gag and go like, let's see if I can make a Wooly, and not only was I having a hard time making anything like that, the options became incredibly limited once we hit the hairstyle. Because skin color, you've got the full gradient, and you can go HSB, so that's fine. You try saturation
Mhm.
brightness, but then when you get to the hairstyles, it's like, oh, these are all just like you know basically unnatted, unnappy European ass Caucasian hair, and there's one that's kind of curly, and I was like, well, that's the option, um, and it's not the comedic effect afro, which that's oftentimes what you will get is what's the guy's name in FF 13? Um,
Uh, Says.
yeah, there's like a bit of a like a funny like let's drop the whatever, any of the many Japanese characters with afros that
Well, black
you
people have afros, right? They would
of
just stick one
course,
right on there, and
of
there you
course.
go.
And Reggie had used to have a magnificent afro.
Oh shit! I
Um,
wish I could see that. He probably look really good.
he had a great one. You can go back to some of the old thumbs from a couple years back, but I just mean to say that like of all the common black hairstyles that'll show up in something, the afro is the most frequent I find because it's not just serving the purpose of it's a black hairstyle. It's also a punchline, right? It's
Mhm.
like the clown guy in the well, there's a ton of examples. There's the guy from
The clowns in
WarioWare.
Yakuza. It's
There's
a
Bobo Bobo
DLC
Bo,
goofy item in
yeah,
Monster Hunter.
Nabeshin, all that stuff.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like it's exactly. It's a so you kind of expect the punchline here, and when you don't see it, you're like, oh, okay, wow, not even that. So it was pretty interesting because I was like, all right, well, Wooly test failed, I suppose. Time to just make some tough lady, and I'll just play with that.
So
Um,
it's interesting because Zuli the Witch, who does a lot of digging
shout
through these
outs.
games to fuck with it, she went into the character creator. She put a video out yesterday where she was able to discover that it is absolutely like the same character creator that we have always been using.
Mm-hmm.
They've just like given more slider control to you, and they've also like updated the actual assets on the
Mm.
faces and the hair and all that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But like if you max out every slider including hidden dev sliders, you get the same face in both. So
Ah.
any issues you had back in the day are going to be very similar to issues you have with this. And I'm pretty sure
Ah.
all of the hairstyles in this game are all the same hairstyles in Dark Souls 3. They're just updated to look nicer.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. No. So that's it. And you know, I mean, it was literally one, but I did have the pleasure of reading one impression, one person's comment, which was like, well, clearly George R. R. Martin and FromSoft wanted to design a Norse Eurocentric game that wouldn't have these types of features or characters in them. So why would you expect to see that there? And it's like you can be a race of character that has descended from literal rock. you can be a dragon skin person, and you can also be a samurai. But okay, man. I suppose there were.
That was,
I suppose there was.
With
you know,
arms and legs.
My bad. My bad. I shouldn't.
Well, you see, it's
that.
about the fantasy of what you do and don't want to see.
Yeah,
you see,
for sure. Also, you know, even though we can all agree that Vikings also rocked dreads, that's not a you don't want to see Viking dreadlocks in that list. That's just not the kind of hairstyle I'm looking for on my list.
It's literally like the same 16 hairstyles that they've had the whole time.
Yeah,
and like a bunch of the girl ones are really bad.
Yeah, I'm just so, you know, I'm just like, all right, well, that's what it is. What it is, you know.
Ironically enough, the hairstyle that I always choose, which is like widow's peak and like thinning at the back, because they put the fancy new hair on it, it's actually thinning way less at the back. And I'm like, no, I want this thing. I want this this big spot available. I want to look at that when I'm running around.
I mean, I when I was originally making a character in Monster Hunter Rise, I remember I was looking at this and I was like, oh yeah, like some games are like just more leaned towards making you look like cool, you know, like there, and so there's a lot more like steering towards that direction in Monster Hunter games, I find. But it was like, even looking through the hairstyles, and I was like, I don't like any of these. And it was like, oh well, don't forget to go look at the DLC list of extra hairstyles you can buy. And I'm like, they're extra purchases, but at least they made them, you know. And I was like, all right, well, they're there, you know. If you really do want to get that like particular style, you can go buy that.
And I will say one thing is that it's the same thing. It's the same similar problem that you run into in Monster Hunter, and that is, I made my tired old man, and he's got the big. I'm so tired, and I picked my character starting class, and was head to toe in robes, and could not see my own fucking face.
Oh yeah,
and for about 95% of the game have been unable to see my character's head in any way.
Dude, I'm rocking a fucking Griffith helmet. Like it's done. Like there is no face.
Oh, you went prisoner?
I did. Because I want to get the closest thing to the Enchanted Knight from the demo that I can. So
yeah, the Enchanted Knight gear. So you know what? Let's just start from the beginning. What's your current experience with Elden Ring?
Okay. I was gonna say one other thing about the character creator, but
go for it.
It's slipping away. What was it? I forget. Anyway,
I have something else to say about the character creator. After
just that like I was you know, happy with the ability to make my large, burly, muscular, middle-aged lady. And
oh yeah, you can slide up like individual body part sizes.
And I was like, that's good. I like that, because before, you know, I mean, going way back early, it was kind of like, do you want a big head or do you want a dumb dump truck with a tiny fucking like?
I want a big head.
Do you want to be triangle shaped? You know? And I was like, can I get a compromise?
No.
So that's nice.
But now you can.
That's nice. Just sell me an afro, FromSoft. Sell me an afro.
So there is actually one other thing to say about the character creator, which is kind of fantastic. I didn't expect it. There's a mirror in the hub when you get there that just
Hmm.
lets you alter your character at will.
So I was gonna ask because I was curious about this because ultimately I was like, I might want to go back and change aesthetic things, and I
Hmm.
did look and I found out that there's a location not too far in that you can go
Yes,
back and
the hub.
just yeah. Okay, great,
It
great,
doesn't even cost any currency. You just walk up to it. It's kind of hidden. There's nothing pointing to it. It's literally a mirror in a corner of a room. I
wonderful.
didn't know it was there for a while.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, you just fucking do whatever. It doesn't matter.
Great. Why do games make it a big deal? Like why is it like, you
Because that's
know,
your character, bro.
and it's like, oh,
That's you.
get in the coffin and you can go for, male or female body type, but it's like what is the deal with just not giving you the free option to change it all again, like fucking do whatever you want. um I imagine that hopefully there'll be a cool helmet that like might have some kind of dread like thing sticking out the back of it, like that predator thing
I haven't
that one
found one
time.
yet, but there might be. The game's pretty big. So
Yeah.
what is your current experience? Because I've played it pretty much nonstop 4 or 5 days. So I'll take a back seat. I want to hear about what your current like experience with the game has been.
Well, my experience with the game was launching it on PC and immediately noticing textures popping the fuck in and out.
I saw the game like crash out into like a fucked up window when you got to the end of the first cutscene.
Uh-huh. Boy, was I like wishing I could have gone console at midnight, but we didn't do that. And for anybody who has tuned into the first episode but didn't hear me explain it, as of session 2, I'm switching over to console, so don't worry about it. We're not riding PC all the way
I
out.
have a question for that for your own purposes. Which version on the PlayStation 5 are you going to play?
Uh, the normal one that I bought.
Because when you buy it, you get the PS4 and the PS5 version,
Oh yeah, so I
and
do know that PS4 versions have less input latency for a lot of things.
they have a little less input latency, and it's the only way to get a lock 60.
Oh really?
But on the PS5 version on the PS5, it runs pretty well,
Okay.
but it's definitely not a locked 60.
Well, here's the question then: are there save transfer
You
options
can go from 4 to 5, but not the other way.
like every other game? Well, then we're fucked. We're locked on 5, and that's what we're doing.
Okay.
Because
Dude, it's so I got the PC version as well. I bought my own copy because I wanted to like, I don't know.
yeah,
I got a free review copy for the PlayStation, so I
I bought
got
it
my own copy on
twice.
PC.
Yeah,
And the PC version is fucked up.
there's stuff going bad.
It's fucked
Now,
up.
that window kick was happened in the to us, and then a lot of texture popping happened, but there wasn't anything else really severe, save for a couple of stutters here and there. I noticed a lot of people were finding way worse issues, but I'm not looking forward to running into any of them. So, um, but yeah, so we did that first session, and what I pretty much did was I got all the way up to um, the like little one of the first little like forts where you have like all the guards and the guy that can blow the horn to alert everybody that you can like stealth through it or alert or.
You mean the one that's at like a T intersection with a big gate off to the
There's
left?
a big gate right next to it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm pretty sure that's the gate I saw in some of the pre-footage where you
It
run
is.
in. Yeah, okay. So I got right up to that gate, and what did I do? The first thing I did was actually head in the complete wrong direction because fuck it, let's wander.
Yeah, I saw you get to like the ass end. You were almost in the fucking peninsula.
Yeah, and I saw I saw like a little teleport pad into an Everjail,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, let's see what's in here. And then there was a badass in there.
There sure was. There
And I
always is in those things.
Yeah, and I fought him for about 40 minutes, and then I went, all right, I see what you got. I'll come back later.
Hmm.
And then, I made it through. I think the two. There's like it feels like there's two critical path little caves that you hit on your way to that big gate.
Hmm.
One where you fight the cat statue or whatever that
Yeah.
was, right? And then the other one where you you have all the wolves and stuff.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I did those two little huts.
I'm
And
gonna
then
call those, for the purposes of our future conversations about this game, I'm gonna call those micro dungeons.
micro dungeons, yeah, give or take. And just got a feel for what was going on as well. Playing a build that is going to be like half casting, half swinging.
Hmm.
Uh, and got to that gate thing. Got torrent. Met the maiden. Got the maiden. No longer maidenless. And
Have
then
you heard about finger maidens?
bar, 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 bar.
Can you like? I was like dipping into people's streams, and I heard Paige streaming upstairs, and I got like that. There's your George writing right there, because I can't think of a single person that covered this game that didn't just start going. Dude, you
No,
finger
the
maiden."
moment they said the moment they're like you have to go to Stormvale, I was like, oh, that's a fucking Game of Thrones name
Yeah.
right there, right? Whether you're talking about the fucking the Vale or the Storm this or the Storm that,
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's a George ass word right there. Um, and then we stopped, and then I popped open the PS5 version and restarted, and
Mhm.
more or less tried to do what
Try to
we already
recreate your
did, tried
shit.
to redo it, but immediately had differences that I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, oh shit. Okay, so we'll and once we crack it open again, I'll point out what those were. But like I saw things I didn't see the first time around. I found I'm calling them grace holes. I found two grace holes that I didn't find last time, and
What is a
and
grace hole?
I was trying to think of, I couldn't. I was trying to use the game's nomenclature and I couldn't remember it because I just kept saying bonfire. And I'm like, where's the fucking bonfire? It's a bonfire, right? And
Okay.
even in Bloodborne, it was like the lanterns. I'm like, yeah, the bonfire, right?
Okay, then
And,
just grace. I don't know why you're calling them grace holes. That's very unsettling.
well, it's a site of grace or a point of grace or whatever. It's not just grace. It's a thing of grace, right?
Lost grace.
Yeah. There you go. Right. So when I forget it again, I'm just like, whatever. The fucking go sit at the bonfire. And then that comic was like, yep, look for bonfire in every game. And I found a bunch. And then I saw a giant that I didn't see, and then I saw fucking some crucified moaning dudes, and I was like, yeah. And then I noticed something after, because I did it a lot faster the second time around, obviously.
Right. Yeah. Of course.
And when I went and I took out those two like mini dungeons, and then I was like, oh, I got some extra money. Let me just run back to the shop. And I realized that the maiden that gives you torrent shows up at, I guess, whatever bonfire you sit at, because
She shows
originally
up.
it was at the gate, and then the second time she showed up at the church.
So, you're talking about Melina, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So in the oh god, back when I did the network test, they gave us a little breakdown of how shit works, and one of the things that was so confusing, and they felt the need to spell it out, which is wild because it was never spelled out to the average person, is that she shows up at the third grace that you sit at.
Okay. The thing is
Supposedly.
but that's not what happened on my second like run through, right? I cleared two of the mini dungeons and then ran back to the church instead of going forward to the gate. And when she met me at the gate the first time, this time around she just came to the church, you know?
Yeah, so they must have changed that. I think there's a lot of what I'm going to call completely. Hey, remember this is a From Software game, so we were making jokes about
Oh,
what
yeah.
parts of the UI were going to lie to you maybe
Yeah.
6 months ago.
Yeah.
People can't even figure out what gets the prompt to go to the hub.
Okay.
People can figure out that this specific thing causes the hub option to show up, but other people got it in a different place.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is the fucking criteria here?
Yeah. The feeling I had was after beating this dungeon, the next grace you sit at is going to be the one. Maybe, I don't know, you know?
People are suggesting that it is the third open world grace that you sit at.
Okay.
Who the fuck
be.
knows?
And then I was like, okay, well, then I made it back to the gates anyway, you know, and I got all the stuff that was there. And I was like, let me just get a bit better at fighting. So I don't want to like level up or anything. I just want to get better at this combat because like without a guard break, let me figure out how to, you know,
there's more.
Do stuff. Yeah.
There's a lot more to just swinging your sword than there was in the past ones.
And when someone puts a shield up, my brain says, okay, we'll walk up and guard break him, right? And it's like, no, not necessarily here. Now you're looking for either the counter slash on certain things, but if you're not getting fed that, you want to possibly consider literally jumping over them, you know? And I was like, whoa, like, yeah, that's different enough.
Yeah, they incorporated so everybody has a posture mechanic now. There's a secret Sekiro style posture on everybody. And
stance and poise,
strong attacks and jumping attacks and charged strong attacks just do enormous amounts of posture damage. And guard counters too. I don't know if you experimented with that at all.
I did a bit, yeah. I also was at first I was using the little spell that you get at the start a bit, and I was like, this is not a soul arrow, and then it
sure
like,
isn't.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh my god, it's better because like if you want to snipe and be an actual mage, I suppose there will be spells that do that. But the function I found beautiful for this was setting up your own assists. So, you know, as I lock onto something, I'll cast 1 or 2 shots and then run in with my sword and let the shots lead me. Or in some cases, I'll circle, cast. I'll do a large cast and then circle around so that the shot will hit them in the back. You know, and I'm like, oh, the ability to create your own assist is so much more fun when you cast and then run in with a sword as opposed to, you know, just standing back and popping shots.
And that's not even the actual assists. Have you been able to unlock those at all?
I found ashes, but like I haven't had the, you know, like it's literally we sat and just got them is where I stopped.
So I've been talking to people, and some people, there's an NPC interaction that you can miss, but basically go to the Church of Ella at night, and then someone will give you the item to summon other characters.
So after I was just practicing, like just fighting a bit, I was like, okay, I'll just resume here. And then I was like, oh, let me see if I can go like buy a couple of these notes that the Santa Claus is selling. And I went back to the church.
Santa.
He's just Santa Claus. He's just the Grinch. He's literally just the Grinch. Like, don't even pretend. And like, you don't do those color schemes with those trimmings and not know what you're doing.
Like,
right?
There's other versions of him that like, oh, it's yellow and green or, you know, what have you. But like,
nah,
yeah,
that's just the Grinch.
Santa.
Yeah. So then I just went back to the church to go talk to him, and then a lady showed up and was like, "Hey."
Okay.
And I was like, oh, "Okay, quit game, stop, quit, stop."
That would be her. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the witch from the intro.
Okay.
With the blue and the hat and all that.
So yeah, I'm very interested in finding out like what exactly combat is going to be now, because like I've avoided a lot of, you know, I've looked at some stuff, but I've avoided like you know, a lot as well, and from like there's stuff that I saw that is really interesting where they're like, we took an idea from Dark Souls 3 and then turned it into a different feature here, you know, like stance with weapon art is like actually just one of the things you can infuse now.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, oh, okay, and parry counts as one of those as well. Like
Changing your scaling is like that. You just go, I want it to be quality. I want it to be heavy. I want it to be bleed.
interesting.
You just pick it. Doesn't cost anything.
That's so cool. That's a really great idea.
So about the Ashes of War, I mean, some of them are losers, right? Some of those moves are shit, right? But you might pick them just to make your weapon heavy, you know, for your strength scaling or whatever. Unlike Dark Souls 3, a lot of those moves are winners. A lot of them are really good. I got something called repeating, no, not repeating thrust, impaling thrust. It's called, right? And it's literally you take one step forward and stab, right? That's the move. Except you can equip it on almost any sword weapon at all, which means weapons that don't have thrusts, you can give a thrust.
Give a thrust, yeah. I got the that great sword you get right in front of the gate, and it had its default is I think it's stomp, you know. Yeah. And I tested that out, and holy fuck, is that thing really cool? You just absorb the hit and then like launch them, and instantly killed, you know, like the guard, the shielded guard.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is absolutely the type of shit I want. Where it's like it's more of a focus attack than it is a parry timing kind of thing.
100%, yeah.
And then I saw that like I picked up the ability to replace that with like Storm Stomp or something. But I was like, hold on, if I replace this, do I lose the default one?
Nope. You just mix and match to your fucking heart's content. You don't lose a goddamn thing.
Really? Okay, because the tutorial message was worded in a way that implied that you do lose the previous one.
Nope, it's free.
So I put it in, and I get the new one, and then I take it out, and my old one comes back.
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
And you can even take them completely off to get the weapon's original thing back.
Yes, perfect. Okay.
So I got a Claymore, but I'm running a holy character, so I put Sacred Oath on it.
Okay.
And then if I wanted to, I could just swap it, just pull it right out and just go put on something else.
Are the ashes grouped by weapon type?
So, this is something I only figured out in the middle of my stream yesterday after hours and hours and hours and hours of time with the game.
Yeah, you're like 40 hours in.
I'm 39 hours in as of right before this podcast. All weapons, armor, spells, etc. are all grouped by type in your menu. That's why the menu's so long vertically. So all straight swords are going to be in the same row. All daggers are going to be in the same row.
They're grouped into their group. Okay, that's why. Okay.
And it's really useful. It's genuinely incredibly useful.
And then any given ash will work on that row.
No, ashes will actually they're grouped by I think they're grouped by scaling. So like my magics are sitting next to each other, and my holies are sitting next to each other, and the ones that can be quality are sitting next to each other.
Oh, I maybe I'm using the wrong word. I guess what I mean is like Storm Stomp.
Yeah, no, because your Art of War will have a type of move, but it will also have a scaling associated with it. So I think Storm Stomp lets you make it a quality weapon, for example.
Okay.
If you so choose. But the magical ones let you keep it standard or do it to magic or what have you.
But like I noticed, I was like, I can put this into the stock, or I can put it into the great sword. I cannot put it into the flail I just picked up.
Yeah,
right?
they have if you look at their descriptions, it'll list like all the weapon types that they can
compatibilities. Okay,
compatible. So a lot of the time you'll see something that goes all weapons except for colossal weapons or something like that.
Okay, yeah, no, I basically I remember I saw the Enchanted Knight, and I didn't know that the demo classes were not going to be the real classes. So you know, it was when I saw that and I saw the Blood Wolf or whatever, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool shit. Because I feel like of all the starting sets, like Samurai looks the most complete and like badass, you know, for like a
I think it's
starter.
just a fucking reskin Sekiro armor set.
Maybe, but it feels as if you get that, you have a character versus the
Hmm.
others where you're like, you're in some scraps, you're gonna want to find some better shit. Um, and but like yeah, the Enchanted Knight, I saw the sword and the casting and shit, and I all the glint blade stuff, and I was like, oh, that glint blade stuff looks awesome. I want spells that are like sweeping near automata style, you know,
Yeah,
magic weapons
so
around me. Like that's the build I want.
his gear I have not seen even
Okay.
still, and I've only picked up a couple of the spells that that guy had in the network test. That him and the Blood Wolf characters were clearly like, hey, here's some cool stuff that we
Mm.
can show people. I haven't seen any of that shit.
Yeah, the miracle replacement slash like pyromancy fusion stuff was
Incantations.
incantations. Yeah, it was interesting seeing like the ground claw that looked pretty good. Um, and then I saw like the big dumb dragon head. I was like it's strong looking, but I don't want to do a big dumb dragon head.
So fun that you mentioned that. I picked Confessor and have been rolling a Paladin slash Faith build
Mm,
throughout my game. First of all, they fixed Faith. There are tons of offensive miracles. There's lightning bolts. There's multiple types of fireballs.
nice.
There are the dragon abilities. That big dragon head is quite slow. It is a massive 20 by 10-foot cone that takes up your whole
It
MP
looks
bar
really
and just
strong.
waste like the whole thing in front of
Mm-hmm.
you.
Mm-hmm. It was also interesting because like as well, so like as we get into it, I'm explaining. I'm like, oh yeah, so FP to Reggie. I'm explaining like, you know, like the difference in how they adjusted everything in three, and then kind of returned to Demon Souls a bit with it, you know,
Yeah.
where you have just basically a mana bar that you can do sword skills with, you know, that big dragon head. Like, here's the thing about it: if it were either a just your head at scale,
Yeah.
that would be cooler to me, or b if the dragon were floating just a little bit behind and above you,
Just a bit to the right or
just a
left.
bit to the right or the left, I'd be like, yeah, that's a cool summon dragon head. But the fact that it's big and it's right over you, I was like, it's just dumb there. Like, make it either like
So,
I'm summoning it or I'm becoming it, but not I'm becoming it and it's weirdly big. You know.
yeah, the only issue I have with it is it can occasionally block your view, but you don't really need a good view because that thing just it's a mob. It's like a
It's a clear.
clearing. It's
Mm-hmm.
like a whole room clearing thing. Before we get too away from it, man, you're not supposed to beat that tutorial boss this time around.
Oh yeah, I felt it. I felt it. Both times. Even the second time I went out and I was like, all right, let's try to give this an earnest nope. This is not meant to
Like
happen.
you're not supposed to.
Like the flex, if you want to be that, you know, that guy, the one who pulled it off and got the holy shit poggers on stream, it's gonna require you to be like there for 10 minutes probably.
Yeah, and you got to
And
remake your character every time.
you know, and then like picking and choosing the wildest shots. Like, yeah, I can. It's not like Stray and Asylum and all that shit is like hits hard, big dumb slow, get away from the AOE. You can pick at it, you
This
know.
thing's a spaz.
Mm-hmm. It's
Flailing all over.
a bloodborne flailing dumb beast, and that's a way easier one shot death to get hit by than a big dumb, you know, swinger.
So back to your talk about the combat. I've spent a lot of time with it, and
Oh, sorry. Is there?
spells.
Do you know if there's a cool reward that?
I'm there's you can the tutorial dungeon is actually visible from Stormvale.
Okay.
Like it's off to the side, and you can see that there is an area after that spot.
There's a fog
Uh,
gate. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the fog gate goes somewhere. It's like a little outcropping, and that's all I can.
Okay.
That's all I can tell you. I don't
Cool
know.
sword and shield is what I'm seeing.
Oh, there it is.
All right.
So as for the combat, it's like it's clearly built on Dark Souls 2. It has Sekiro's Sekiro's posture shit. Power stancing is there from Dark Souls 2, and you just have it by
Hell
default
yeah.
with one of the starting classes, and it's free. It's just use 2 weapons of any class. No weird statistical shenanigans. Just do it.
And is it identical in that like you have the two unique attacks and then the
Yep.
similar attacks on on
Yep.
R2? Yeah, okay. Okay. Nice.
Um. Fight and adding all this together, like in my time with it, like fights have ended up feeling like very different to Dark Souls 3. Like there's like even against bosses, there's a really genuine reward to jumping and hitting the boss with an R2
Mhm.
when you have
Mhm.
the moment. In some cases, on some bosses, jumping sweeps
Yeah.
the
Absolutely.
hitbox is specific enough.
That was yeah, no, honestly like that Everjail fucker
Yeah.
and one
Oh
other
yeah, he has a
boss
couple that go right
sweeps and it's
under
like
you.
you jump that and like that Sekiro training is supposed to kick in there, but in Sekiro when you jump over something you get the nice like head stomp and but you land into like basically a light slash, but
Hmm.
here when you land the heavy it feels like a drop attack, you know.
Yeah.
So it's really satisfying to land.
Uh, it's the fact that because in the past you had bosses like, let's say, Cleric Beast. You shot him enough times in the face, he would drop down. You could do the riposte on his face and do a big chunk of damage.
Hmm.
Now that every single enemy has that mechanic associated with them, it changes the feel. There's if you have it really down, like on fights that I was struggling and then just said, no, I'm gonna knock them down. I feel strongly that I can do it. And then you knock them down, you get this huge chunk of damage off of them. Like it's a viable way to play it, just as much as hit and run. And the guard counter has now made blocking like good for the
Mm.
first time in a bit.
Although I would imagine based on the fact that like a lot of that stuff is not locked in like the lock in blah the guard counter is not going to help you when you're surrounded, right? Like if you
No.
and it's not going to help you if you try to guard counter someone who is in the middle of a string, you
Yeah,
know.
so against bosses, it has to be the last hit of the string, or it has to have big wide opening.
Hmm.
Against your regular ass enemies, you want to do it either if it's like a dog or something, you want to do it after like the second or third hit, or if it's
Hmm.
like a human enemy, you know that animation they play when they hit your shield and they bounce off, they go,
Yes,
"Boah!"
yes.
Right? That's when you want to do it.
And
I've
that's
used. Sorry, after you.
no, I was gonna say, and that's why I like that's why having the parry on the little buckler I'm using is like
Mhm.
still a nice tool to have ready to go because like there's many situations where I'm just like, no, I don't want to wait here. I want you know, and I got like a parry off like right away from like even like I was getting stabbed from a spear from an odd angle and
Yeah.
it still worked, you know.
I found that there's a wide variety of animations for the guard counters, and a weapon's effectiveness with it will depend dramatically on what that animation is.
Hmm.
So I had a broadsword to start because I played Confessor, and the broadsword you do the guard, and then they do a back spin, and it's like a full horizontal spin with their guard counter, and that's really useful.
Hmm.
Then I later switched to the Claymore, and the Claymore has like a big overhand swing as its guard counter,
Yes.
which would miss
Whiff
smaller
constantly.
enemies.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Uh, I then used a spear, which it would just be a big poke forward, which was more reliable. So there's just like mechanically, there's so much more going on here than there was in DS3. And in terms of exploration, adding a jump button is the fucking be all to
Hmm.
navigating these environments.
And I find it like the crazy thing to think about too with like all these combat like decisions and changes is like that these are also designed to work in a PvP context too, you know?
I don't know about that. I don't know if they actually are. I think they just kind of throw it together.
Maybe. I assume so, you know.
Though
Um
I have found uh unique weapons and unique spells that are specifically anti-player.
oh
I
like
found
like Lloyd's talismans type shit.
yeah, I have a scythe in my inventory that if you hit it's L2 is this big arcing jump attack, and if you hit a player with them, they can't use their health items anymore.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
I also found a spell that inflicts madness on player characters if it hits them with it.
Interesting.
Oh, and before we get too away from FromSoft being the most obfuscated fucking freaks in the world, you'll get a goddamn item that says increases focus. And I'll go, what the fuck is focus? And I can't find the word focus in my character sheet.
Yeah.
And then I have to read the description of the item, and the item will say in brackets, focus is resistance to sleep and madness.
Okay.
And I'm like, it's nice that you tell me, but why don't it just say resistance to sleep and madness?
Why bracket it? Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Why?
I
also,
did see the
why
word
are those
focus
two
somewhere.
stats linked? What?
I did see the word focus somewhere, and I did just go like, stop thinking about it.
There's a phrase called. There's a couple items I have that increase robustness. I don't know what the fuck that means.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
No, you like that. That's just more obtuse than it needs to be. How? So I got enough of a test in to just see like what it's like swinging on top of the horse. Like you must have done a bunch of like full-on horse-mounted bosses at this point.
I have done a couple horse-mounted bosses.
Looks like a completely different game.
It feels like a fucking completely different game. There's a couple pro tips I have for anybody doing horsey combat. One, getting off your horse is 100% invincible. So is getting on your horse.
No shit.
Once the whistle is blown, you are invincible until you have horse control.
Wow.
So you can occasionally use it to remount safely.
The fuck out.
Second of all, your both triggers and bumpers represent the left and right sides of your attacks.
Yeah.
What I did not understand until about halfway through my playtime so far is that if you hold a strong attack, you know how you put the weapon to the right and then you hold it for a big swing?
Yeah.
That's a active hitbox the whole time.
Oh, it's dragging on the ground.
Yeah, so you can just like drag it through a bunch of fucking grunts. The double jump lets you Skyrim your ass up bullshit you are not supposed to be able to do.
I just saw two-hand before you mount. Does that actually change what you're doing?
So you know how you gain a 50% strength buff if you're two-handing a weapon?
Oh, fuck off. That's a bug?
No, it's not a bug. It's if you don't have the strength required to use a weapon and you're only one-handing it and get on the horse, it'll maintain the one-handed state. Right? But if you're two-handing it and then that puts you over the requirements and then get on the horse, it will then work properly.
Yeah, that's a bug. That's what I mean. Is it like you mount the horse with the state you're in, and it'll allow you to do...
That's not a bug. Because if you're two-handing your weapon, that means you can use it correctly, which means they shouldn't penalize you when you're on the horse.
But your moveset
even though you're clearly
is one-handed. But no.
No, that is actually a feature, not a bug. That is...
Well, here's the other thing. I caught wear armor that's too heavy for you. It doesn't matter when you're mounted, right?
Yeah. So... Also, I've used a wide variety of armor. Hey, guess what? Wear whatever the fuck you want. Like, I can't tell any difference.
Well, I mean, I want a mid-roll. You know, I don't want...
No, I'm just saying, like I can't, aside from your mobility, I can't tell anything more than like a 1% difference in defensive value.
Okay.
Like it just wear it.